go live. Oh,
there you are. You're live now.
Okay. Hello, everybody. It's Melissa here. We're doing LGBT Live. I'm from Youth Work Ireland, Cavan Monaghan, and this is Barry.
I'm Barry. I'm from Cavan Monaghan Rainbow Youth.
So everybody's very welcome. Today, I missed last week, and I missed Pride, so I'm wearing this beautiful bow tie here for Pride this week, just to show my support. And I hope you really like it and enjoy it.
It's fabulous. It really is. I want one of them.
Okay, so Barry, it's just me and you this week. Everybody's left us. Maybe they're still recovering from the weekend or something. But I suppose I just wanted to say that, you know, Dublin Pride was on over the weekend, and there was lots of different virtual events on over the week. And I was seeing some of it. I watched the Dublin Pride Virtual Parade, and it was really good. You could see loads of different communities, loads of different groups from all over the country, and it was great to kind of see all the support that actually you probably wouldn't see if you were up at the parade, because you're too busy in the middle of it. Mm. So I think it's maybe something they could do in the future anyway, of just kind of doing a kind of an introduction, a hello, and, you know, how's things from all the different people in the community. So that was really good. Did you see anything or do anything over the weekend, Barry?
Yeah, I'm really bad. No, well, I tried to check in a couple of times, but I got sort of caught up with the new government being formed and trying to figure out what was happening there. And as I said to you, it was also my birthday at the weekend.
Happy birthday.
My own celebrations kind of took over my life at the weekend. Very bad. No, I didn't really see much of it at all, to be quite honest. But it is something that there's a massive catalogue of stuff there on the Dublin Pride website at the moment anyway, so you'll still be able to check in and have a look at stuff that's happened over the last month through their Facebook and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So I will catch up, but I'll take it at my own pace, because the Pride itself, even the run up last week, the work that we were doing locally was just taking up so much time that a bit of wind down time was necessary. And man, did I wind
need a rest.
Yes.
Yeah, but they did have even something, you know, people are interested in LGBT history. There was a live tour done on Dublin Pride's Facebook page of Kilmainham Jail and the LGBT history around Kilmainham Jail. It's only about 20-25 minutes. So there's loads of different aspects that were on the page that would be worth kind of looking at. So just for people if they want to have a look.
Yeah.
So will we go on to some of the questions, Barry?
Why not?
Why not? Okay.
Why not?
In this big world that's behind you. Okay, so I have a question here. Do you think that the use of the word queer by the LGBT community, what do you think about the LGBT people in the LGBT community using the word queer as a word?
I like it. I like it a lot. Why do I like it? So I'm just turning down my phones because they're pinging here and I don't want to be rude. Yeah, the word queer has been used sort of as a slight against the gay community for years. It's a way that people used to use it to insult people, to bring them down. It's kind of similar to how nowadays people would refer to things as being gay. Oh, that's gay, you know. Again, it's the negative connotation to how it's said. Whereas the word queer just means not normal. That's essentially what it means. And it's not that I say that I'm not normal. Everybody is human, and that's all that really matters. But what I like about using the word queer now is kind of just saying, listen, I'm not the same as everybody else. I'm an individual. And that's how queer should be interpreted. I'm an individual, and I define who I am myself. I define how other people perceive me. I dress as I want. Look, I don't know how I dress. I'm the worst dressed gay person in the world. I've absolutely no sense whatsoever of what fashion is. But I wear what I'm comfortable wearing. And sometimes if you see me walking down the street in the middle of December wearing a pair of shorts, that's because I'm comfortable wearing a pair of shorts, and that does happen. It's normally just Christmas week I'll wear trousers. So what is queer? It's just to be unique, to be different, to be not the norm. And that's an amazing thing. So the fact that the queer community's pulled that one back and said, yeah, I'm queer, identify as queer, I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
What?
What's your thoughts?
Well, when I was with working with the young people, they really used the word queer all the time, and they really used it as a word of empowerment, and it's like it's an umbrella term, and it was something they had no problem using. But then when I was talking to some older people generation, they were kind of saying it was something that was said to them as any LGBT person, and it did hurt. So it's kind of like, you know, for me then it made me think, because I was using the word queer all the time, because we were having we had the ball, the kind of the Deb style party for the young people, and it was called, the young people called it a queer ball.
Yeah.
And but then it kind of did make me think and shrink back a bit of like, should I be using the word or should I not? But the young people see it as an empowering statement, and something like you're saying, that again, they don't have to put themselves into boxes of, you know, are you lesbian, are you gay, are you bisexual, are you pan, are you black? They can just say I'm queer, and if they say that, then that encompasses so much and more. And like you're saying, it can be just saying I'm different, I'm an individual.
Yeah, and again,
which I always love.
It comes back to people, how people identify as well. Like we had this conversation in the early weeks. It's about how an individual identifies. So some people would identify as being queer, some don't. And for that very reason, like I would have been one of those that would have had the term used in a derogatory manner quite a lot. Not necessarily against me, because like for a member of the LGBT community, I tend to blend in quite a lot unless I've had too much wine. But a lot of the time people wouldn't readily just assume that I was a member of the LGBT community. But yeah, it was always used in a negative fashion. And I think it is sort of, for me personally, I feel more empowered lately, and that's why I'm not afraid of the term anymore. The young people have taught me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So,
but some people still don't know that it's been, you know, taken back by the LGBT community, because sometimes when I'd be saying, oh, I'm organizing a queer ball, blah, 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 people were like, you know, why did you say that? You know, so it was kind of having to explain then, you know, what was happening. But, you know, some people still out in the public, in the wider community, mightn't realize that it's a word that's been taken back by the LGBT community.
And the other thing I love too, and we said this just beforehand, is it's one of them terms that sometimes people try to use it against a person. Like they might turn around and call them a queer. And then a lot of the time the people who identify as being queer can literally turn back with all the sass that somebody who is queer can have and say, yes, have you had a problem with that? And walk on. You know, so that's the empowering part of it, is owning that and taking it and going, you can't use that against me because that's who I am. So good luck to you. Move on. Bring it. Yeah, sorry.
Bring it on.
Yeah.
Okay. So another topic that has come up during the week, somebody was asking me, is what age does somebody know that they're LGBT? So like, what age do they, not that they're coming out, what age how can somebody, you know, so young know that they're LGBT?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I was kind of trying to say back to them, well, when was the first time that you ever fancied somebody in your life, putting it back onto them? And I can remember as a child that I was only about 5 when I liked a little boy on our street. And I can remember, I have photographs of me kissing the face of him at my 5th birthday party. So
go Melissa.
Yeah. But it's like, you know, so why is it any different? So it's like there was no, you know, bing moment in my head of, oh, I'm straight, you know. So it was just it's just natural, or you knew, you just woke up one morning and you just liked somebody, you know, it just happens. So I think it's obviously is the same for LGBT people.
Yeah,
you know,
no, I would have had the same sort of thing as well. Like it's the only difference for being LGBT is a lot of the time, because we live in such a, sorry, I'm playing with me, because we live in a society that is very much focused on the man-woman relationship. As a young person, I was very aware that what I was thinking or how I was feeling wasn't necessarily what was allowed. But yeah, I remember as young as 4 or 5 in primary school, fancying a boy as well. And only I don't want to mortify said person, I would say dead person's name right now. But I do remember being in school and watching ones playing football. And again, as a 4 or 5 year old, you don't know, like, you don't know the language, you don't know what you're feeling, you don't know what this is all about. Like, we talked about statistics there earlier, before this, sorry, everybody else in the world. We talked about statistics. You had sent a thing about a young person typically starts to realize that they themselves are gay around the age of 12, and they only start to come out. It's actually 16 now. It's got younger.
Right.
The average age of coming out now would be 16. But that doesn't mean that the feelings haven't been there beforehand. The only difference whenever you're 12 is your body's starting to change and the hormones are kicking in and you're starting to understand and you're getting the language, you know how to voice what you're feeling. Or you can try and find some rationale. And now obviously you've got the internet and you've got all these other ways of figuring out what sexuality and identity is. But yeah, there's very few people that would not be able to relate back to some time in their earlier childhood. And again, it's not something that you're influenced by either, because I had absolutely no concept of anybody else in my community being LGBT at the time either. It's just my own personal feelings, just like you.
Yeah.
It's knowing and loving.
Yeah. But I suppose the difficult bit for LGBT young people is, and I've done this in talks in schools, is saying, okay, just say the average age is 12, even though I've asked other people in the class and they're telling me way younger than that. If they don't tell anybody by the time they're 16, and that's, 4 years of keeping a secret, keeping something in about yourself, keeping something in. Like, I know, like, when I was younger and I fancied somebody, I couldn't wait to tell my friend. And I'd probably blurt it out to my sister, or, I'd be giggling and kind of going, oh, I like him, blah, blah, blah. So I was bursting to tell somebody.
Yeah.
But you mightn't be able to do that if you're LGBT. And when they say about coming out in that thing, they're talking about telling one person that they're LGBT. So it's the bit, and that's where the mental health issues and stuff like that comes up, of having to kind of hold something in for so long that you want to share, or you'd like to share. The need, the instinct is there to talk about it, but something might be holding you back.
Yeah, and it's seeing everything that, like, I remember such a long time ago, but I remember when I was in secondary school, like, and I remember, like, trying to conform, trying to fit in, trying to, like, wanting to have a girlfriend, because I wanted to have what everybody else was having. I wanted to have relationships. I wanted to be able to hold somebody's hand walking down the corridor at school, because that's cool. But I wanted to be able to go to the teenage discos and, have a girlfriend and things like that. But it's not that I wanted to have a girlfriend. I wanted to be able to express myself like that. And it would have been ideally a boyfriend, but not having that. And again, that's coming into the mental health again, because you're constantly restricting yourself and you're checking yourself. And it's not that you're actively trying to deceive anybody. It's you're afraid of rejection. And we spoke about this briefly when you weren't here last week. It's the rejection. It's being able to be accepted by your peers as well. Like, I lost friends because I came out. And that's the thing that young people are constantly trying to deal with, is the fear of rejection.
Yeah.
That's why it takes 4 years. And for some people, it's a longer journey. For some people, it takes a hell of a lot longer. Some people live into their 40s, 50s. Some people get married because they can't admit that to themselves. And there's this whole thing of internalized homophobia as well, self-loathing, all of that. It just, the pressure of coming out can be unbelievably massive. And a lot of people, if you're straight, you can't understand it, because it's not that you can't, you can empathize, but that pressure and that fear of losing things that are so readily available for the straight community, that's the one thing that causes massive mental health issues for people. And to be honest, I've said this to friends, I was for years probably one of the most homophobic LGBT people you would ever meet. And it wasn't that I genuinely hated the LGBT community, but I was struggling that much with my own identity. And there's so many people within the LGBT community that would also sort of accept that they have gone through that struggle themselves, because you end up fighting with yourself. And again, it's all internal. Yeah. For so many years, typically 4 to 5 years through your teenage years, but some people just are constantly fighting that battle and can't bring themselves to come out, whether it's due to family background, religion, maybe ethnic background or whatever. There's a lot of reasons why people can't and really struggle to come out and be their true self. I've rambled. I'm great for this bloody rambling.
And do you think you actually were internally homophobic, or do you think you were testing people around you to see what they thought? Or I suppose actually I didn't ask you, were you saying it to people?
No, I don't think I would. Well, I would have come out with some smart comments, but not more so among friends, not directed at an LGBT person. And so possibly, this is like a therapy session.
Oh, sorry.
Possibly cancer. No. It's a good question though, because it's probably a bit of both. It's probably a bit of both though. Probably testing the water, but more so, I suppose probably just trying to figure it out in my own head as well. It was just my way of getting through it. Thank you, counsellor. It's great. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. But I suppose going back to the question is saying that you can be at a very young age when being LGBT just means you fancy somebody. You haven't even done any, when you're 5, you're 6, you don't know about sex or any sexual act. It's just about really thinking somebody's lovely, or just having a funny feeling in your tummy about them and whatever. So it's just about who you fancy and who you like. And of course, it's going to be at a very young age, because if anybody listening to this or watching this can think back, they're going to be thinking of a young age they were. Okay, so is there a favorite LGBT space or an LGBT event that you love?
Yes. There's plenty. There has been plenty of spaces over the years. Obviously, like for me, when I was trying to find who I was, and after I came out to friends and that, the first place I went was Dublin, because that's the only place I knew where I could. I suppose it's partly the anonymity as well. When you travel to Dublin, and it's highly unlikely you're going to meet anybody that you went to school with. So me and a couple of friends went, and it was the George was the first place I hit, the George in Dublin. And it was, I was a typical culture coming into the big city, walked in through the door of the George and just my jaw dropped, because it is so extravagant. Everything about the George is extravagant. There's just the pillars and the statues and the big lights and the mirrors and the dancers and just everything about it. The whole decor of the place, even back then, was just so extremely just extremely gay, to be honest, flamboyant. There was everything. And I just remember one of the first songs I heard when I went through the door as well was "It's Raining Men," and literally those people up dancing on the stage. A few hours later, I was up dancing on the stage as well. But it's possibly one of my favorite places, because it is an LGBT space, and it's where you can go and feel safe. You can go with your partner. You can go as a single person, and you have the potential of doing what straight people can do in any pub around the country, is go and have a social life, possibly meet somebody, possibly be affectionate with your partner.
Yeah.
In a public space and not fear for your own safety.
Mm.
So that's why I loved it. That's why I loved it, was essentially being able to go and do what people are able to do in the bars around Monaghan and Cavan, in the straight community, with great ease. There's loads of other spaces that was about as well, like the Front Lounge was one, and Dragon, but the Front Lounge has changed ownership and name, and Dragon has disappeared. So George is the George, and of course there's the Panty Bar as well on the other side of the river, which is very unique in its own way as well, but still very much a staple in the LGBT community at the moment.
Mm. Well, for me, it would be Dundalk Outcomers and their space that they have in Dundalk. They have their Pride in July every year, and they do up the whole space so well. It's so colourful when you go down. It's so relaxed. They have a youth day on the Friday where they do loads of workshops for young people around the northeast area. And then on the Saturday, it's a family day. And then there's stuff on at night time as well. But I would be there on the Friday and I'd be there on the Saturday as well. And there's loads of, there's people playing music. There's a barista. You can get cake. The best cake, actually, it's the best cake ever. It's unbelievable. And when I'm there, I actually feel so relaxed. It's so welcoming, so warm, so chilled. I never want to leave when I'm at it. I just think it's so good. And somehow they always get the sunny weather. So, and they've sofas outside and stuff as well. And everybody there, you can just see, is so happy. And they're just having a great time meeting loads of different people. And people they don't know, people that maybe they haven't seen since the year before. And it just feels lovely. Really, really nice. So I love going to that. I look forward to it. Obviously probably not happening this year. I think they
have a fantastic space down there.
Yeah,
anyway,
they have a great
just
space.
for their youth drop-ins and that.
Yeah.
Like it's Outcomers has been going forever. Like, would it be possibly about 25 years?
Yeah, I think
more.
So, yeah.
And I was aware of it when I was younger, but again, first of all, getting to Dundalk from Monaghan if you don't drive is an impossibility. Like, public transport in this country is a joke. So actually being able to access it that way. But also just it always for me as a young person felt too close to home, because I'd be afraid that, because that's where people used to go to Pennies and to do the shopping, and to Dunn stores before Dunn stores came to Monaghan. Things like that there. So I was always just very apprehensive as a young person traveling to Dundalk. But I have been in the space so many times, and it is fantastic. Like, that courtyard is just stunning.
Yeah.
So yeah, very jealous.
I know. So what else? And I was at Dublin Pride 2 years ago. I wasn't, and it's a great day as well. And Youth Work Ireland work with all the youth services to get them up for a big breakfast.
Yeah.
And then we were in the parade then, and they have a big kind of parking lot. That's very American. Have a big parking lot, and we all congregated there and left from there, and there was a Lewis put on for us to get us down to where the parade was on, and it was a fantastic day. The heat was unbelievable, but we were in the parade, we were there with loads of young people, and then afterwards you get to go, it stops in Smithfield, and then there was a big concert in Smithfield. So it was a great day out for all of the young people that were there. They love it.
Well, that's the sad part about this year as well, with the COVID-19, because I know a lot of young people across Cavan, Monaghan, that have been engaging in both their services had expressed, and we were looking at how to get them down there. Also to do some stuff locally, but the main thing for the majority of them was to be able to get to Dublin, to get to Pride, even if they just stood in the periphery, but just to be in that atmosphere, be accepted. So here, if we keep the social physical distancing and all of the severe what's the word? Techniques, hand washing techniques, all that. If we keep that going, hopefully next year it will come back. But
yeah,
again, we just need to
stick with it.
For now. Yeah.
I know.
But also, actually, one of the things, Dundalk as well, like they have the youth element and they have the family element, but there is the later like the clubbing element that they had. I went to it last year in Dundalk in the Imperial, and they had a drag show, and there was people from different areas had come along. Like I went in completely stag. I didn't know anybody there, and I just chilled for a few hours, watched the drag act, and went on head home. But that's for the adults as well. There's a lot to go on in Dundalk whenever they have their Pride as well. And who knows, next year we might have something more, like something local as well. Something obviously not to the extent that the guys in Dundalk are doing yet. But we'll definitely have something next year.
Yeah, definitely, and hopefully.
No, definitely.
Right, Barry, I think our time is up.
It is. Oh,
so
sorry.
Thanks to everybody, and Con will be back on Wednesday with the parents live, and then on Friday we're doing another special, and it's around PLC courses, apprenticeships, Solace, and we have a couple of speakers on, so it's going to be interesting for young people trying to find jobs or courses or apprenticeships. So that'll be on Friday at 3:30, so you can join us then. So thanks everybody. Bye.